Take this journey with me? I hope so. This is part 2, and I'm going to begin to show you what God has shown me, folks, about this Merovingian bloodline and how that it works in my life and what God has shown me. And, folks, you can either agree with me on some of these things or not. I'm just simply showing you what He has shown me, okay? Now, I have told you before about my XYY syndrome, and it's a rare chromosomal disorder. And so there's a little bit of information on it, but it never completely tells you the truth. Like I say, it's a rare Parkinson's disease that I have of the royals. And this is my first discovery that I had of belonging to this group of kings, group of people. And it's a 47 XYY syndrome. And that's really odd, folks, because that 47 is going to play a big important role when I talk to you guys a little bit later on about a frequency that I know of about the 5G towers. Telling you the truth, guys. You'll see in a video I have coming up in the weeks to come. Okay? The Merovingian king bloodline. It is said. Now, and just follow along with me on this, folks. I don't proclaim to be anything. I'm just telling you what legend has. Legend has that the Merovingian king bloodline is the descendants of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene. That they had twin children together, and she went to France. And these twins were the start of the Merovingian kings. Okay? That is what legend has to say about that. And there is a lot there's a lot of material on this. You can take a look at it on the internet. They even have a lot of it on the internet and a lot of it on YouTube. But it's interesting enough to note that if we take a look at, in Greek, the Merovingian, I am the king. Mer is in Mary, O is in the seed, Vinge is in virgin, I, and then the A-N would be the same as A-M in Greek, so it's am. So it would be Mary, the seed of the virgin of God, I am the king. Merovinge, I am the king. Mary, the seed of the virgin, I am God, the king. So the seed of the Virgin Mary of God is the king. And that is exactly what that Merovingian would mean in Greek. And so you can see that that's what it turns out to be. Now, hang on. One thing I found very, very interesting, folks, in taking a look at all this stuff that goes on is Jesus Christ is supposed to be a Pisces, okay? And one of the most interesting things that I saw whenever I got into taking a look at this was on the zodiac calendar. You have these two fish that are they are looking in opposite directions. Well, that automatically tells me, folks, a male and a female. Could this possibly be a dead giveaway that's what that means? Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene. So let me take you a little bit further here. And interestingly enough, this ruling planet for the Pisces is also Neptune. Remember us talking about the shot having the Neptunium metal in it? May not be an accident, guys. When we're talking about the old jab, you know what I'm talking about, Chrissy. All right, so let's look a little bit further here. Hang on. Here's a little bit better picture. And you can see the two fish in opposite directions, one male and one female for Pisces. And this falls under February the 19th to March 20th, which there is a lot of reasons why that I think that March 20th would be Jesus Christ's birthday. And I will get into that a little bit later, what God has showed me about that. Okay? Let's get this off the screen. Okay, so let's look here a little further. Look at this, guys. This is also part of the Pisces right here, too, and this just shows the fish in opposite directions. And you can see the Pisces symbol of the fish. It's right there. And there's the two fish in opposite directions, one male and one female. February the 19th to March the 20th. So that is really something else, folks. And hang tight one second. It starts becoming quite impossible to imagine, folks, that Jesus Christ's birthday would be on December the 25th, especially when you consider the fact that he is a fish, he is a Pisces, okay? That's representative of the fish, and I showed you the two there a moment ago. And if you take a look at December 25th and what it falls underneath, it falls under the Capricorn, folks. And the Capricorn falls underneath the sea goat. It's really, it doesn't make sense at all for his birthday to be December the 25th, because if it's December the 25th, how can he be a Pisces, a fish? You understand? It doesn't make any sense, guys. And so this right here is just a big lie. It's just like a lot of other things that we've seen. It's a big, huge lie. Okay? So let's move along here. Right here is one of the biggest things about this whole thing that the Merovingian kings. This is one of the biggest revelations that God has ever showed me, folks, in his life. What he had to show me about King Arthur. And he told me one night, he said, move into the story of the King James Version and how the King James Version came about, my son, because I have something to show you. So that's what I done. So let's move in and let's take a look at the wording when it comes down to the King James Version, guys, and I'm going to show you something quite astounding, okay? Okay, guys, if you take a look at the wording of the King James Version and how it came about, let me tell you what that you're going to be astounded by. The King James Version is the authorized King James Version, is what it is. And if you notice, the wording on that is authorized King James Version. Authorized? Well, that says a whole lot, folks, especially back in the 10th to 13th century. Authorized meant some things that were quite a bit different than now. And if you take a look at the Greek meaning of author, author in Greek means to interpret from one language into another, and that interpretation is to manifest into perfection. That's what author means. So hold on, let's take a look at the wording here and take a look and see what there is to see on this. Okay, so let's take a look at it here. The King James Version, also known as the King James Bible, sometimes as the English version of 1611, or simply the Authorized Version, is an English translation of the Christian Bible for the Church of England, commissioned in 1604 and completed as well as published in 1611 under the sponsorship of King James. So you see, folks, even though that it talks about that, it doesn't necessarily say that King James was the one that translated, or he wasn't the one that translated the Bible over from Hebrew into English. What this is telling me, it's telling me that King Arthur, under the authorized, that's all that can mean. Authorized back in that time period of time can only mean one thing, folks. That King Arthur was the one that translated this into perfection, and he approved of it. And then King James took that approved version of it, and he went on ahead and he had it copied, he had it distributed. So you see, it is the King James Version. But where we're getting I think a misconception is here, King Arthur, folks, was the one that translated the Bible from Hebrew into English. And if you take a look at the Greek meaning of King Arthur, it can't mean but one thing. And another thing too, authorized in the modern day world that we live in could mean that, you know, you're authorizing something under some laws or some statutes or some publishing guidelines. There was none of that back in the 10th to 13th century. They were just glad that somebody could even write a book back in those days. So that type of authorization didn't exist. The only thing that this could mean is this was approved by the one that made it, translated it out of perfection. And I'm just showing you what God has showed me, folks. I'm not trying to change anything here. I just think that we misconstrued this. It's a misconception. King Arthur. And it even says it for itself here. Let's take a look at some other stuff here. Come on, let's look. If you notice, the Authorized King James Version of Wikipedia. Authorized version. Well, we're missing out, folks, on what this meaning is about author. We're missing out on that whole thing. We're letting it skip over top of our heads. Right here is the king that translated the Bible. And this is what God has showed me, folks. This is the beginning of my journey as the bloodline of the Merovingian king bloodline. And in my opinion, this is quite amazing that God would show me this kind of thing. And I don't turn it down, folks. It's always been there. It's just been us that's not looked at it right. Look at this. The official King James Bible online of the Authorized King James Version. The Holy Bible authorized King James Version. You see, folks, it goes on and on and on. King James Version, Bible history and background. And I mean everything. You look at this. The official King James Bible online authorized King James Version. It always has that authorized in it. And that authorized means something, guys. It means that King Arthur was the one that approved of his translation of that from Hebrew over into English. He approved of what he had put together, and then King James took what he had and he perfected it. He was essentially the publishing company that made the distribution of it, permissible. So it's not wrong to say that it's the King James Version Bible because he did publish it. He made copies of it. He put together a lot of it. He made hardbacks of it and so forth. So he acted as the early on publishing company. But what this is telling me, guys, and you could disagree with me on this is telling me that King Arthur was the one who translated the Bible over from Greek and from Hebrew being the Old Testament, Greek being the New Testament, over to the English version. And then King James took it from there on out. Folks, the internet is full of this. The authorized version. The authorized. And in the 10th to 13th century, it can only mean that, guys. So now you've seen the first big revelation that I had right here that took place with me after I found out I was part of the Merovingian king bloodline. So keep watching, guys. You're going to see a lot of astounding things that I'm going to show you that you're just going to you're going to be wooed by it. And this is just the start of it. This has been an amazing journey that I have taken with God. And this is not changing anything, guys. It's always been there. We've just not understood it. We've just not understood it. So stay tuned with me and let me show you some more things, because I would absolutely love to. Thank you for watching this part of my bloodline and the Merovingian kings. And stay tuned for more. Okay, are you guys ready to take this?